Dang, I got no battery life. I'll make it quick. Winter NAMM just wrapped up. A lot of people that I know were there. A lot of people were reporting some cool new stuff. One question that keeps coming up on some forums that I'm part of and stuff like that is people complaining that there aren't new models of fenders, or that Gibson didn't go, or whatever. And for the most part, people have the wrong idea about what goes on at NAMM. I think people who haven't been there assume that when you go, there's guitars and amps and pedals and everything everywhere, and that you can just sort of mosey around and pick up whatever guitars you like and plug them in, and maybe sit on a stool and play a little bit and really get a feel for some of the new gear that's out. It sounds like the way it would be, like just like walking into a music store and you kind of walk over on your own little area, and you kind of have free reign to grab a couple guitars and maybe check some stuff out. And the fact is, the place is as packed as it can be. I mean, like when you watch a movie where somebody's like downtown Beijing or something, where it's just like there's a sea of people, that's how it is at NAMM. There is no moseying around. If you're walking slowly, you're going to get run over. If you aren't paying attention, you're going to run into somebody. If you're walking and you're gawking at a guitar or amp or something, you're going to trip over someone or hit them or run into them or whatever. It's not going to be a good time. Really, you have to be very deliberate about where you're going, what you want to see. Get out of the main walkways. You don't want to be standing there trying to figure out what to do, because there's a ton of people around. And yeah, most of them are pretty friendly, but there's definitely no shortage of people trying to like get where they're going, and they don't really want to have to, deal with an obstacle course of human beings who don't know what's going on in order to get where they're trying to get. So I would say that a good portion of NAMM is just walking really fast, having deliberate actions, and trying to stay out of people's way. Once you have that part out of the way, which is probably 60% of being there, yes, there are lots of shiny new objects that you can check out, but because of all those people, because of all that hustle and bustle, it is loud at NAMM. By the second day when I was there, I had ear fatigue just from everyone talking. Just, thousands of people within close proximity just having conversations is an uproar. Add on top of that guitars and drums and horns and all this different stuff. It is really an assault on your ears. And I think the one thing that I probably would recommend to anyone going to NAMM is take and use earplugs. It is unbelievably loud, and you don't realize how loud it is. I guess I'll take back that it's unbelievably loud. I would say that it's louder than it needs to be for your ears to be comfortable for 3 days. And your ears get fatigued. It's just like listening to a mix on a console. After a while, you have to take a break and let your ears kind of calm down. The way the ears work, they're not meant to just be assaulted by loud noise for hours and hours and hours on end. Anyway, so you finally braved the main walkways. You've figured out a way to not be in anyone's path. You haven't run into anyone. You haven't tripped over anyone. You haven't ruined anyone's day or knocked a drink out of their hand or anything by not paying attention. And now you've made it to a booth, and you're excited. You've thought all year about this company, and you finally get to check out their product in person. Your local store doesn't carry their stuff, and you've seen it online. You've looked at it. You've listened to all the demos, and now you actually get a chance to twist those knobs yourself, and you get a chance to play a chord through that particular pedal that you've been looking at. And it is so loud and so crowded that you can't even think, let alone play music and listen to the nuance of a pedal that you've never touched. In addition to that, good luck finding a stool to sit on. Good luck finding a guitar you can grab that has a strap on it. So if you go to NAMM, another thing, number two, if you're a guitar player anyway, the number two thing I would say to take with you to NAMM is a guitar strap. If you want to try something out, you have to either put your leg up on something and sit the guitar on your leg, or just stand there and hold it with your hands up and like try to play it, unless you have a strap that you can throw on it and actually try it out. But even then, like I said, it's not ideal. It's not, even in a music store, that's not an ideal situation for you to hear the differences and hear things, how it would sound for you in your environment. It doesn't give you an idea of how it would play in your house or in the studio or on a stage. It just doesn't give you that accurate representation. And it's even worse at NAMM because it's so loud and because everything is so fast moving. You don't have the time to sit there and tweak things and really dial in a sound and see if you really like something. More than that, you really want to take the opportunity to try to network with people. If you really like a company and you've looked up to them for years and you're a big fan and you've had a lot of their stuff and you want to try to make some sort of headway with maybe trying to get an endorsement or something like that, that's an opportunity for you to meet the person who's at the booth. Usually at NAMM, it's probably the owner or the president of the company. Those are people that, if you can strike up a good conversation with, maybe make an impression on them, then you can follow up after NAMM and try to, make something happen. Hey, remember me? We talked about that fishing trip that you went on, that you wrote about in that magazine, and yeah, I'm a fisherman too, and we talked, and we were talking about that one pedal, and you said that, maybe we could work out something where I demo it for my YouTube channel, or maybe you give me one to use for a while and I send it back, or whatever, or sometimes maybe they'll send you some stuff, maybe some stickers or whatever. But you're not going to make any headway in the industry by just trying out a pedal and walking away. Even if you're a phenomenal guitar player, you're probably not going to sit down at an amp, plug in, and blow anyone's mind. Obviously there are like a minuscule number of people who might stop and be like, oh, he's pretty good. Unless you're like a god on the instrument, and I mean like a legit god, like somebody in the pantheon of the all-time greats, no one's going to care that you can play guitar. No one's going to care that you can play bass. No one's going to care that you can play the drums. You might have a couple of people glance over and say, oh yeah, he's pretty good. And that's it. No one's going to like notice you at NAMM for being a great musician, because guess what? There's 100,000 people there and they're all great musicians. That's how they got there. So I think that there's a lot of misconceptions. And like I said, the first one being that you can mosey around, the second being that you can actually hear anything and demo anything with any sort of real understanding of how it would work for you and how things kind of fit in a mix and stuff like that. You're just not going to get that experience there. Lastly, I think people underestimate the power of, seeing how the industry works. People, young and old, think that, it's all about talent. If you're really good, people will find you, people will notice you, people will sign you, people will put you on tour, blah, 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 blah. It's not that. If you go to NAMM and just open your eyes and pay attention, you'll see right away that there are a lot of great musicians there, and there are a lot of musicians who are sort of just okay, but they're there because they have played the right cards with the right people, they've rubbed the right elbows, they've made the right connections. You can definitely learn a lot about how to interact with companies, with AR people, with other musicians, just by sort of observing how people interact at NAMM. Because this is a lot of industry insiders, it's a lot of people from the actual companies that make the stuff, but there's also a lot of music store buyers there. There are a lot of distributors there. It's filled with record producers and celebrities to the extent that they're famous musicians. I wouldn't say I saw any movie stars or anything, but I ran into a ton of people that I have looked up to for years. I met a couple members of 311. I met members of Mudvayne. I met Victor Wooten. I met tons of people from the Warwick booth, including Robert Trujillo and Norwood Fisher and Devin Townsend. Just a bunch of people that, maybe they're not household names, but they're people that I look up to as a musician. And you can have a legit conversation with them. If you run up and fanboy and oh, I love this album, I love that album. I'm sure that they appreciate it, but they get that a lot. But, I had a half an hour conversation with Ryan Martini from Mudvayne, who is now in Soften the Claire, about tattoos. He has tattoos, I have tattoos, and we started talking about, where we got our tattoos and what kinds of things we'd like to get in the future. And, we didn't really talk about music. We were both there for the Warwick booth. We were both there with Warwick artist badges, and obviously both bass players. So at that point, there's no sense in spending the little bit of time we have to make a connection talking about the one thing that we already know that we have in common. I don't need to tell him that I'm a bass player. He can read. He can tell that I'm there for Warwick. He knows that I'm a bass player. That's not a question. So I don't need to spend time trying to make myself sound like I'm worth him listening to my music or something. That's not probably going to happen. But we were able to actually make a personal connection about something that's not music, and I assume that he probably appreciates those moments because he's used to getting a bunch of fanboys that just want to talk about LD50 all day. He's used to that. So when he can have a conversation that's not the same thing he's been having to talk about for the last 15 or 20 years, then he's probably really stoked because he can feel like a human being. And he's not the only one. Every person there is a human being. They're not just a great guitar player or a legendary drummer or a big name bass player on a magazine. They have other interests. They hunt, they fish, they're into hot rod cars, they're into, scuba diving. There's all kinds of things, and you wouldn't know these things unless maybe you asked. You could kind of ask them, what are you into? Other than music, let's talk about something refreshing. They'll appreciate that. And, you can make the right kind of friends, and then before you know it, you've networked your way into, an endorsement deal, or you've networked your way into a friend, which is far and away more important to me than having a relationship with a company based on some product that they sell. Not that I don't appreciate that, but, I like personal connections, and I like to know people and find out how they work and find out, what makes them tick and everything. And I feel like at NAMM, there's such a bombardment of the music, which is that's what it's there for. But you can really stand out in the crowd by being somebody who doesn't just focus on that. So if you get a chance to go to NAMM, take earplugs, take a guitar strap if you're a guitar player, and don't be afraid to have conversations about things that aren't the obvious. Obviously you're not going to get a chance to talk to Steve Vai on a personal level. He's going to be walking through there with an entourage, and they're not going to have a time to stop and talk to you about whatever thing you think they might want to talk about. But there's definitely people who aren't at that level, but still people who could be your hero, and you see them and you wait till they get a moment where there's not someone around them, and make your move. One thing that I recommend is, if you see somebody you'd like to talk to, do a quick search. Search their Google, search their Wikipedia, and see if maybe there's something that stands out that they've done recently, or something they've talked about in a recent interview, of something that they're really into right now. And maybe it's something that has nothing to do with music, and maybe it's something you didn't even know about. But maybe it's something that you have in common with them, and now you have an in. You have a reason to have a conversation with them, and it doesn't sound forced, and it doesn't sound fake. All you did was find out something that they like, and you like it too. Now, I wouldn't recommend finding out something they like and then pretending to like it, but you never know. there's definitely times where you can make that sort of connection. I became friends with somebody who was a lead singer of a pretty popular band in the early 2000s. We became friends on MySpace because he's into old motorcycles, and so am I. And so we would have conversations about vintage Triumphs and old Harleys and stuff like that. And very seldom did we ever even touch on music. Never even came up. It's just we became friends because we're both into old motorcycles. And to this day, he's a friend of mine on Facebook, and I haven't met him since the early 2000s, but we sort of keep tabs on each other and we talk, and those are the kinds of things that you wouldn't have stumbled upon unless you picked up on that thing that's external from the obvious that you can make something out of, and so a shared passion with somebody. People love talking about what they're passionate about, and just because they're a famous musician doesn't mean that they're always super passionate about music 24/7. A lot of people have a lot of interests and hobbies and families and stuff like that. If you can find something like me and Ryan Martini talking about tattoos, you can find that thing, you can make a connection. And I would say that's the main goal of NAMM for a musician, is to make connections. Whether it's a personal connection, a business connection, networking with other artists, maybe trying to put together some shows or something like that. Those are all the reasons why people, as artists, go to NAMM. So I guess that's where I'm at with NAMM. I didn't get to go this year. I couldn't swing it. I had to work and stuff like that. It's an expensive trip to fly out and get a hotel room for a couple of days and stuff, especially if you're going by yourself and you don't have anybody to split the hotel room with. It can get expensive, and it is a really good time, and it's fun to see everyone, and you see the big names, and you get a little starry-eyed and stuff like that, and there's YouTubers there and everything, so there's definitely some cool reasons to go. I would never tell anyone that it's an absolute must that they go, but if anyone has the opportunity to go and the means to go, I wouldn't ever tell them that they shouldn't go. I think it's definitely a cool experience, especially if you haven't been there. It's worth checking out once. If you get a chance to go, check it out, but don't be surprised if you don't get all the intimate time with a piece of gear, or if you don't get the time to talk to your guitar hero at length about some album that you like of theirs. I try to be respectful of their time, and I make a concerted effort to try to talk to them about something other than what they're used to talking about. If for no other reason than just I want to be their breath of fresh air. I want to be the not annoying fanboy. You know what I mean? So NAMM is cool. Check it out if you can. And just keep these things in mind so that you don't go there expecting a different experience than you end up with.